So here's the start of making my medieval purse. I start out this project like I do most projects with a pattern. That would be disregarding the instructions entirely and maybe regretting it later. But I disregard the instructions most of the time, especially for patterns. But I did start by reading over the instructions. And by reading over, I mean I just glazed over it and I didn't actually absorb any of the information, and leaving myself with a nasty surprise later. Then I'm off to attach the pattern together. I just do this by taping. It's no big deal. So then I'm going to trace the pattern out onto my silk taffeta. I only really needed to do it once, so it's a bit redundant in the end, but it's totally fine. And you'll also see where I messed up. Then I'm going to cut around the sewing lines that we just marked with a healthy seam allowance. This fabric doesn't fray too much, so I wasn't too worried about it, but it's nice to have a little bit of wiggle room. Now I'm going to pin it lightly and then it's ready for sewing. With some silk thread, because I'm bougie, I will backstitch all around the marked edge, trying to keep everything as flat as possible. Then I'm going to trim the edges and then turn it inside out, press it nice and flat. This is the bit where I realized I messed up, and I was at the point of the project where going back and redoing it just wasn't worth it. I'd have to cut out an entirely new piece and redo all the stitching. I might as well try to fix it. So what I did was I just folded it over as best I could. It's much thicker than it should have been because I didn't cut the line or the outside piece smaller than the lining, but oh well. So I made do, and then I pinned everything down and whip stitched it with the tiniest whip stitches I could possibly manage. Now I'm going to fiddle with the frame for a bit, trying to get it as even as possible. It didn't quite fit on the frame perfectly, but you won't notice when you're wearing it, and it fit just fine, but just wasn't as perfect as I was hoping it would. But that's alright, wasn't no big deal. So eventually I make peace with the fiddling and I baste it down. Then I will secure it really solidly with some stitches, but I go over very securely because the last thing I want to do is lose this thing and at a Ren Fair or something because it broke off. Now I'm going to mark the holes for the lacing that I neglected to earlier. Not a big deal. I actually don't poke any holes in it, I just mark the holes. Then I thread my ribbon, my silk ribbon, through a really sharp bodkin or large dyed needle that I have. Then I thread it through the lacing markings, and it took a little bit of hand strength to pull it through the markings, but it was no big deal. Then I'm going to sew the edges down once I'm happy with the size of the ribbon, and I'm going to sew these down really securely to the inside. Now I'm going to fiddle with the bead that I used as the drawstring. This is a solid silver bead from my local bead store. Then I tie a knot after I thread the bead on to secure it. And now I'm going to fiddle with the beads that I will add along the edge. I kind of just fuss with it until I'm happy with it. Then I will measure it out to evenly space them out, then whip stitch them very securely on with the silk that I was using. These beads are pewter charms from the local bead store that I get everything at. And so I'll just space them out nice and evenly and tack them on. I really like this bag even with all the mistakes, and I'm very excited to take it to Ren Fair this year. Also, a big thank you to the follower who gifted me the frame. I haven't been able to use it personally, but my little sister has been using it constantly, and hopefully I'll be able to sneak it away from her for a little bit to try it out. I don't think I actually filmed an outro for this, so I will say goodbye now. All the information that is relevant will be down in the description box. Be sure to leave a comment with maybe what should be my next Renaissance project. I'm really interested in doing a lot more accessories because I have a lot of dresses, just not a lot of accessories, and accessories make the look. But you can go follow me. I'm very active on Instagram. I'm less active on TikTok now, but still active over there. And I'll see you next month.